It could be my hair. Uh-huh. Hey there, everybody, all my friends over here. Yes, I am a bit early tonight. I'm a bit early tonight by like 30 minutes because I have an event that a dear friend of mine is performing at, and I must attend. But how could I not have my Wednesday show? I could not do that. And I've got a fabulous guest that I want to introduce to you, or if you know him, for you to become more acquainted with him. So he was kind enough to meet me 30 minutes early. And here we are. And do you notice? My locks have changed. So, as some of you who have followed me, I lost my hair. I was having wearing these fabulous, gorgeous, gorgeous locks. Oh, they were pretty. And they took my hair out. The woman who put them in should not have done them the way she did them. And so since April 2025, I've been wearing wigs, and it was very hard for me. But now I love them. And now my hair has grown. You see, my hair has grown. You see this? And I'm digging this hair. I'm digging this curly do. Thanks, Moon Crab. And so this is my first show with my natural hair. And I'm loving it. I actually had two men hit on me yesterday, and they were quite a bit younger than I am. And a girlfriend of mine told me that it makes me look younger. So you know what? I'm going to keep this hair. I'm so glad all of you are with me tonight. And as I really do start every show, we are going to send prayers and blessings to those involved in this insane conflict that is making our gas prices and our food prices go up way too high unnecessarily, is what I believe. Please keep your beliefs and still be here. But I want to make sure that we start off the show with knowledge of that, and know that that's knowledge from me and from all of us, to know that the world is in a crazy place right now. However, what we cannot do is stay mad, stay in anger about this, stay in a place that keeps us from living our dreams, keeps us from living our possibilities, keeps us from shining light and love into the world. I know that sounds crazy, right? Oh, it's so cliche, but darling, let me tell you, every cliche comes from something of truth. And I am speaking of truth. And that's why we are here on The Vision is Possible, to continue speaking of that and to continue living that. Because if we do, my darlings, I know for a fact, and I think you do too, energy emanates out from us into the world. If we put it out there, anger and frustration, guess what's going to come back to us? But if we put out there love and light and the possibilities and the belief of what could happen and to make our visions possible, guess what's going to happen? That's right. And that's another reason why I'm so glad to have my guest here tonight. You know, if you've been here with me before, I can read their bios. I can tell you what they've done. But what I really like to do is share with you who this fabulous guest is here with me tonight. Let me introduce you to Mr. Marcus Head. What an introduction. I know, right? You really
Yes.
fabulous, aren't you? Really fabulous. Hi there, Marcus.
Hello, my sister. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Life is well. I'm joyful, happy, and healthy.
That's right. That's right. That's where we need to be. I'm so glad to have you here with me. I'm so interested in the things that I've read about you. And you guys, now Marcus is not just a filmmaker, but he was a comedian. He was all over the world making people laugh. But before you got there, let's go back, Marcus. I want to go back. I wonder where you're from, how this all happened, how you got here.
All right. So I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to all my people in the big windy city. And I was like a class clown in high school. I was actually voted most likely to succeed in the entertainment world, believe it or not, in
Mhm.
high school. And I had a track scholarship, did the track scholarship. I did everything but run track. I went the girls, the drinking, not going to class, and then I brought my back home. And a friend of
Mhm.
mine wanted me to start a business with him at a pawn shop, opening a pawn shop up in Atlanta. So I hit the first thing smoking, took my little Mustang and made it to Atlanta, fell in love with the city, and we never got that pawn shop open. And I fell in love with the city, and I just started doing all type of ins and out jobs. But comedy landed for me, I believe, in like 1997 at the Comedy Act Theater. And Bruce was the host. Ricky Harris, rest in peace, was the headliner.
Oh,
Mike Epps was there. Kevin
oh,
Hart was there. Chocolate, Chris Charles was there. So we had a all-star lineup. And I went on stage and did Fire Marshal Bill. And let me show you something. Suppose you're walking down the street. That was hilarious. They loved it. But I got myself in trouble and I bombed the rest of the way. I started trying to talk about Bruce and everything else, and it didn't work. So after I got off stage, I'll never forget, Kevin Hart came up to me and he's like, "Man, I don't know what it is, but you got it." He said, "What you just did right there, that wasn't it, but you got it. Come back and keep going." And I did. And I started going, doing my thing, and I did it a different way because I wasn't the average comedian. I started out, of course, in the hole in the wall clubs,
mhm,
but that really wasn't me. So I started going to like the punchlines and the established comedy clubs where it's like Wednesday through Sunday, and man, I just started hitting it off. And then I became a working comedian at a very young age. And I was working the Funny Bones, the Improv, the Columbia Houses. I was a working traveling comedian.
mhm,
And my big break actually came when I met Ron White, Mr. Tater Salad. Ron White, he was on the Blue Collar Tour with Billy Engvall, Jeff Foxworthy, and Larry the Cable Guy. And we just clicked, and he took me on the road, and I started noticing, we're doing colleges and big arenas and clubs,
mhm,
and I fell in love with just how the whole production thing was going. And then when I would come home, I would go back to the hole in the wall spots, where they have you do a comedy show. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. I did a show in Northern Arizona at a college, and I did 20 minutes, $1,500.
mhm,
And I'll come back home to a hole in the wall club, and the show's supposed to start at 9. And black folks, we don't start until about 10:30. And then, I'm about to get on, and Deion Cole walks in, D. Ray Davis walk in. So now I get bumped, and I don't go on till like 12 o'clock, you know. And it goes from, okay, I'm gonna give you $25 to do this show, to I ended up with like three-piece wings with no sauce and some water. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? Hole in the wall comedy clubs or get back on the road and start making some money. And
mhm,
then I got into it. But then I started, like I said, falling in love with production. So I started booking comedy clubs. And I also had here in Atlanta, I'm playing in Atlanta now. I would do like the Crow's Nest, which is a stable place in the community. I also had 3 Hour Cafe, which was like a mixed audience. So I was booking rooms and hosting the shows, which
mhm,
gave me stage time, and I didn't have to run around and go to everything in comedy is in clicks. So I didn't have to go through the clicks, and everybody came to me, and then I would book the headliners and say, hey, if I book you for this show, take me on the road with you. And when I say take you on the road with you, I'm talking people like Sherman Golden, who opened up for Chris Tucker, Leon Rogers, and when I started out, it was myself, Little Rail, Little Duval, Finesse Mitchell, and that
Wow.
was like the core, and Double D, and Nancy Bellamy, and that was the crew, and we would all fight for stage time. And I just, like I said, started channeling, and then one day my wife and I was watching TV, and this is in 2020, and we can't find anything. We on Netflix, we on, all these shows. We can't find anything. So she turns around and says, "Why don't you just write a damn movie? You're always talking about writing one." And ever since I was 9 years old, I've been writing plays, movies, music, and everything else. So after that day, I started writing, and that's how I ended up with my first film on Tubi called Can't Get Right with the RITE that you saw
Mm,
pictured earlier.
mm-hmm.
Starting Shawty Shawty, what my name is, Rodney Perry, Buddy B. Rocker. We have so many people on that show. Squirt, Montel Jordan is a producer on the show, and he blessed me with like 4 songs on the soundtrack.
Mm,
And Mahogany Raspberry did a great job, and Fredo Davis, just a lot of people. And what I really loved about it taught me that was my first director debut. And what's funny is the first 7 days we shot the film, and an investor was supposed to come up with the rest of the money. So I started shooting the next week with no money. And
mm,
at the end of the week, I didn't have any money. So my producer, one of my producers and athletic directors, her and her husband, gave me money to play my crew. So I was grateful for that, and we
mm,
stopped. So it took us about 2 months to get the money to finish the film. And that's when I reached out to Montel Jordan, and he's like, I'm not interested. And I'm like, okay. I kept bothering him. And then eventually he was like, okay, what are you about? Who are you? What are you about? And we talked, and he came aboard, helped produce, and he gave me money to finish the film among a few other people. And then I just took off from there. And because of my background with comedians, one day this young man called me, and he is the grandson of Ronaldo Ray, famous comedian, actor from Friday, House Party 3, and he wanted to know if I would manage him. And I told him, I'm not managing anybody at the time, but I loved your grandfather. And, I met him a couple of times and went on the road with him a couple of times in New Orleans and Atlanta. And I told him someone should do something for him because he was the unforgotten icon who
mm,
was overshadowed between Red Fox and Richard Pryor. But
mm.
Red Fox did manage him for 17 years, and they were friends for over 20 years.
Wow.
So eventually one thing led to another, and I told him, you know what, I'm gonna be that one that's gonna do something for your grandfather. And that's how the Ronaldo Ray documentary, which we just completed, it's still in post, but we have finished all the filming and interviews. It's going to be produced by Cat Williams, Marla Gibbs, Sinbad, and we also have Angela Gibbs is in there as well. So we have the 227 crew, Curtis Baldwin also, who played Clarence. Big Clarence was his name, Regina King's boyfriend. And we also have Marsha Warfield, DC
Oh,
Curry, Tommy Davidson, and they're
I love
all talking about the first time they ever got on stage. He was like the OG, the uncle who like
it.
kind of developed them and helped them, get their feet wet in the business.
I want to come back to that. I want to go back to some things you said earlier that interest
Sure.
me. You mentioned that you leave, you come back from school, and you're going to open up a pawn shop, and it never happens. And then you jump to
Yes.
comedy. But how did you get to comedy? Because on this piece of paper I have, it says you are general manager at Steak and Shake and a manager at TGIF Fridays.
So, funny story. When I was doing comedy, a friend of mine, Finesse Mitchell, and was about to go to New York, and he was like, "Hey, man, I don't have no money. I'm about to go to New York. You want to go ahead and, get a place and be roommates." And at the time, I had just had my son, my first son. I was like, "Nah, I can't go out there." So he goes out there, gets on Saturday Night Live, and I'm like, "Hey, good for you, brother. Hey, do your thing." And I sat back, reflected, and the comedy was doing well, but at the same time I couldn't be away from my son being on the road. So I went and just said, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and still do comedy, but not on the road. And I went and got a 9 to 5 working in a hospital. And I started out in the dietary, moved up to surgery as a surgical instrument tech, and did that for several years. And then I just always had that love for comedy. And I said, I just, this is what I want to do. I want to be in the entertainment business. I want to write. I want to tell jokes. I want to, but like I said, everything just steered for me. And as I continued the business, I got into from the hospital to the hospitality. And then I ended up becoming a manager at Steak and Shake and eventually a general manager. And then also I worked at TGIF Fridays. So what that did is that prepared me how to deal with budgets, how to manage money of millions of dollars, how to manage personalities. At Steak and Shake, you got the 16-year-old who's never had a job before, and then you got that Flo who's been at Steak and Shake for 35 years. So I'm
Mm.
handling different personalities from little kids selling ice cream to big kids selling ice cream. So managing those personalities, it just, allowed me to prepare me to where I'm at this juncture right now.
The name of my show is The Vision is Possible.
Yes.
And the reason why I bring that up is you had a vision, comedy, something you wanted to do. You had a challenge of a son who you also wanted to nurture and be there for him. And also, there's about making money. You didn't stop, did you? You just kept going, but you kept your vision in mind. And what's interesting to me, too, is you took a job in two restaurants that ended up giving you skills to help you in what you do now. You didn't stop, and that's so important. What kept you going? Where does that come from within you?
I've always been a just want to succeed type person. When I was in high school, I was captain of my track team and, was the MVP, and I was just a leader. I've always been someone that if I say I'm gonna get it done, I'm gonna get it done, and I don't have to have anybody give it to me. One thing Ronaldo Ray taught me is he said, respect is something that you take, it's not something you wait for someone to give you. And I've
Wait, what does that
always
mean
just
that you take? What does that mean?
that means that you go ahead and build who you are and you let people know who you are, and then they will respect you based on your work instead of you hoping to land on a big project or, work under somebody. You create your own space to where people are like, who the heck is this Marcus Head?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. Create your own space. You're not waiting
Yeah,
for someone to validate you that you're talented,
no,
that you're worthy of
no,
respect, that you're worthy for your dreams to happen. And no matter what it looks like, you're going to make it happen.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing is, of course, you have to have a recipe to be successful. The first thing is you have to believe in yourself. The second thing is you have to find other people that believe in you that's going to support your vision, whether it's they're helping finance a film for you or letting you use a place for them to shoot, or just, somebody taught me that if you surround yourself by people, every time they see you, you get them excited, you inspire them. That's going to motivate you to be like, well, I'm just speaking for me, is the biggest thing I get out of what I do is I inspire people to want to do more. So if I have a person that's an actor, I'm going, which I do, Butterby Rocka, somebody I love to death, very talented. I remember we was doing the movie Can't Get Right, and she said that she really wanted to do a movie. And I told her, all right. So she started asking a lot of questions, very sharp. She was going to do it regardless, but I'm glad I was there to help in any way I could. She ended up doing her own movie, and it's out right now. It was called Finding Another Guy, I believe. And then I met these two young ladies who never knew each other. They came on my set, and ever since then, they're roommates and best friends. So anybody that wants to write, I want you to end up being a director. Anyone wants to act, I want you to end up writing or producing your own film. Anyone that's a person that is coming in as a PA, which is a personal assistant, eventually grab the camera, do some lighting, do some sound. I always want to develop people, and that's where the Steak and Shake and the TGI Fridays comes in. And I know I'm gonna keep mentioning his name, but that's who Ronaldo Ray was.
Mm-hmm.
Ronaldo Ray was a college professor who left the classroom to teach the next generation of stars. So he went from the classroom and taught the Cat Williams, the DC Currys, the Marshall Warfield. They will all tell you in the documentary that he is responsible for their development and how they have succeeded and just having the guidance. Even Red Fox, we all know Red Fox was a giant among giants, one of the pioneers, but Ronaldo was also a person that Red looked to. He used to write for Red Fox and Bob Hope, Richard Pryor. So he was more than just someone that was being mentored. He also was, being a mentor as well with them. And like I said, he's done so many films. And I would say he is probably the first comedian to go from comedy to the acting and do it successfully. Now, Richard Pryor, I know, was the one as well, but what Ronaldo did was his um, House Party, Friday, Harlem Nights were memorable scenes, but
Mm-hmm.
BET Comic View, he also was not only the bartender sitting at the bar with Miss Laura, he also directed a lot of the BET Comic View scenes that we're going to talk about, and he also was like The Rock and the OG who kept, he was like the Joe Clark for the comedians. He kept all those comedians who've never ever been on TV. They looked up to him on how they didn't even know where to stand, where the light was, and acting and comedy, comedy, especially on TV, all that is like kind of rehearsed before. They tell you where to stand, how to stand. A lot of them comedians like Ricky Smiley, Bruce, they didn't know how to do that. And Ronaldo Ray recommended several of the hosts BET Comic View. And
Mm-hmm.
he was the mailman on 227. A lot of people don't know he was the first black man to not only be a writer, an actor, on a major network, and that was Ronaldo Ray. He was a writer on 227. He also, like I said, was the mailman, and he also did a play. He directed a play with Sherman Hensley that Dionne Warwick was a producer. So in the documentary, Cat Williams says Ronaldo was the person that is probably the best at the five things, like directing, comedy, acting. He
Mm-hmm.
was a songwriter. He wrote the song Superman Lover with Johnny Guitar Watson. He wrote for the
Oh,
OJs. He wrote for the Temptations. So he was a Renaissance man, and that's why I said
yes.
he's the only comedian who has been on BET Comic View multiple times, um, the Tonight Show multiple times. He also was on Def Comedy Jam multiple times, and he was at Showtime at the Apollo. No other comedian, not
Oh.
Ricky Smiley, not Richard Pryor, not any of them have been on all those shows multiple times.
Mm.
He's the only one.
Mm. You've told me so much about him that I didn't know. You have something too that you mentioned that is very strong. Persistence. I know that this business is not easy.
Mm-mm.
Have you, what happens to you when you've gotten those no's or we're not interested?
Oh, I've gotten more no's than I've gotten yeses.
Mm,
So the way I treat a no is just like, for example, Montel Jordan. I went to him and he said no the first time. And I just kept going to him. And my thing is, the first thing is he responded. It was on Instagram. He responded. So I'm like, okay, if you respond, that means, you're a little intrigued. So I guess he did a little background and we had a conversation. What gets me is it's not about the no's, it's not about the yeses, it's about the vision and the hunger to know once you do get a yes, what do you do with it? Because many times we get the no's, but when we finally get the yes, by the time we finish, some of us do a no project. Some of us do something that is no material.
ah,
So you have to be ready when you get that yes and be prepared when you get that yes. So I'm a full um, production. MHead Films is the name of my company. I write, direct, produce. I know how to get distribution. I know all the rights about intellectual property, rights of what movies, like the Fred Berry story. I'm going to do that documentary, Fred Berry from What's Happening, and we're going to have the wives. He's got three wives and one girlfriend. Through he has two kids, um, and we're going to tell a story of how he became a pop locker with the Lockers, how he got on What's Happened, how he got on Soul Train. Fred Berry was probably the first heavy set man that became an icon and a lovable character on TV.
Mm.
And
Black
I
for
have a
sure.
documentary. Yes, I have a documentary. I do more than comedy. I have a documentary on black firefighters called First to the Fire, and it's about black men and women first time serving in their communities. And we're going to have Molly Williams, who was the first firefighter in 1919. She was a cook, a slave, and cooking for the her master. He was a retired firefighter, and he was still active. And you know how they just volunteer, and he would have her come with him, and she would cook for the whole firefighters, and she would clean the equipment. So she kind of learned all the equipment and just kind of knew what was going on. And in 1919, there was a blizzard, and the phone call came in. All the firefighters were sick. The phone call came in. No one was available. She put the spoon down. She grabbed one of the firefighter carts, took it out, put the fire out. 67 years old, and she became a
Mm.
firefighter for the next 3 years.
Mm.
CeeLo Green, mom is the first black firefighter in Atlanta in 1979. We
Mm.
also have Liz Summers. She was one of the black firefighters in Atlanta. But CeeLo Green's going to talk about his mom because he went some very difficult times when she passed and had a car accident. He was an orphan for a year. Montel Williams, the talk show host.
Yes.
His father was Herman Williams, the first black firefighter, fire chief from a major city in Baltimore. Montel Williams is going to share the story about his father was really big on safety. And because of him, he recommended that fire and smoke detectors be in every home. And once they install that, as you know, every home and business has a fire thing. And we're also going to tell some wonderful stories about the two first generation twin brothers, firefighters in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Their father in 1969 was the first black firefighter. We have the first black female arsonist in Las Vegas. And we have so many different people. But what I'm really excited about this project, we're also going to have the first black firefighter in Houston, Texas, as well, Milton Bradley. But what I'm really excited about this project is it's going to be narrated by Robert John Burke, who is a white firefighter, and his friend died in 9/11 during the fire. And he has been around so many black firefighters, and he knows the struggles in the culture. So it's not a black gang up on whitey, on the black, he's going to actually demonstrate. And we're going to talk about the inventions that were created by firefighters, like the gas mask and the stoplight
Mhm.
by
The
Mr.
fire.
Garrett Morgan.
Uh-huh.
Yes, the fire hose
Mm.
nozzle, the sliding pole was created by seven black firefighters in Chicago who cut a tree down and put it out the window and slid down the pole. Eventually, that became the brass pole that we slide down. And the fire extinguisher wasn't created by a black man, but he perfected it by putting a nozzle and allow it to spray out. And the latter was not created by black men, but black men were the first people that put the ladder on a fire truck and extended it to where they can go to high tops and high rises in big buildings. So there's a lot of rich history that we have for this project. And also, I'm not going to get too much into it, but I will tell you, I'll just mention the name Pryor, and you just go from there.
Well,
But I
yes.
do have the rights to a film about the Pryor family, and we'll get into that a little later. And also, the Ronaldo Ray documentary is going to be a film, and we're actually going to pretty much have a full story of his life and how he got on BET, how he met Marla Gibbs, how he met Cat Williams. And it's going to be something that we're really looking forward to. And Cat Williams is actually going to narrate the project as well. So we're really looking forward to that.
Awesome. 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 Um, I'm sorry. Let's see. I'm just checking to see. Might be a little sound issue on Instagram. Um, I would like to know because you speak about Ronaldo Ray. I didn't know all of that you said. I didn't know how prolific the man was. I didn't know how multifaceted in his talent he was. I have your trailer. Would you mind if I share it?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. So everyone, If you're squeamish, sometimes I even curse on my show. There might be some adult words here. So, all you adult people, you're going to hear some adult words. And you've got to see this trailer. Here it is.
Have more comedy specials than any comedian
Yes.
alive. Part of that is because of Ronaldo Ray and the fact that he explained history will sort the rest of this out.
Right.
Make sure that when they go through history, you have left what is
I got you.
necessary for them to see.
Whoa! Shit!
Mhead Films presents A Comic's Tale, The Ronaldo Ray Story, coming soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring to the floor at this time the young man that's gonna shake you up. Ronaldo Ray, give me that number.
Don't believe in alimony. That's like paying for a car that you can't drive. If I ever send a woman some alimony, bitch better send me some pussy back in the mail.
I'm the token old person on this goddamn show.
All three of my wives treated me bad. All three of them died very mysteriously. First wife died from mushroom poison. Second wife died from mushroom poison. Third wife died from a fractured skull. This bitch wouldn't eat the mushroom.
Well, here it comes.
Yo, I chilled out at the Bates Motel, wore wolf woman out in bed.
Wow.
He was a natural mentor. Like, he was so far ahead of everyone else in the field.
Best advice Ronaldo ever gave you?
Yeah. Bitch, shut the fuck up. Stuff like that.
He was a scene stealer.
Oh, you want something too, old man? Huh?
No.
Come on, Pops.
Take your motherfucking shirt off.
I was doing that.
Your Highness.
Huh? You see the size of those melons?
Oh gosh, Ronaldo Ray. He basically told me to watch out for these dudes and cocaine.
Who would have thought that Ronaldo Ray would buy drugs from you?
Having a very important meeting that night anyway.
What? Another meeting of the Freckle Face Club?
He would give you all, he told me where to go, what to do in Hollywood, what comic clubs to hit, who to talk to, and how to take it to the next level.
That's the kind of motherfucker that'll fart in a bathtub and turn around and bite the bubble. When Ronaldo Ray got the job on anything, he pissed me off. Because these are jobs that I wanted, but Ronaldo Ray got them, and that pissed me off. I know you're listening to me right now, Ronaldo. I don't give a damn. You took my job. You and Morgan Freeman pissed me off. I said it.
He was so funny. So funny. Candy Productions once sending you a little message here. Congratulations to all your success, Marcus. I can't wait to check out all your projects.
Thank you so much.
I remember Ronaldo Ray, and when I looked him up again on at Google University, he just
Mhm.
passed away last year.
No, he passed away about 15 years ago.
Was it 15 years ago?
Yeah,
I thought
about
it's,
15
you
years
know
ago.
what? I'm wrong. It said 2015, and I could not get
Yeah.
2025 out of my head.
Yeah, about 10 years ago, about 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 11 years ago.
How proud his family must be
Oh,
for what you are
oh,
doing.
his grandson is doing comedy now, and Of course, one of the producers on the show, and his oldest son, and his brother. His oldest brother is actually on the project as well, and his cousin DeAndre Brown and Murph Ray is, as I mentioned, the grandson Todd Murphy. So I'm just really excited that they trust me with this product. And I was happy to, like I said, we're working on the distribution right now. We have several people that's interested. We won a Telly Award for it and several film festivals. So it's receiving very well right now.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You know what I love about your trajectory in this is being a comedian is wonderful. And now, not now, but you took control of your career. You
Well,
took
thank you.
control. Your wife said, like I said, it was COVID, and she said to you, nothing's on TV you want to watch, so you write it, and you did,
Yeah.
and that's
Shout out to
so.
my wife for starting that engine for me to,
Mhm.
you know, get me out there to start writing and producing.
You truly know about making your vision possible.
Yeah, like I said, I just love it, and it's wonderful to tell these stories of these greats that a lot of people don't know what they really did behind this
Mhm.
camera and behind the scenes.
Mhm. There was a comment. I want to go back to your documentary on black firefighters, and again, tell us what was important to you because you could have had many good black voiceover people or a black firefighter narrate this. Why did you feel it was important to have a white firefighter do this? Or why did you
I
make
wanted
that
a white.
choice, I should say?
Well, it was more than just a choice of just being white. 'Cause I had several people, but what I really liked about him when I talked to him is he grew up in Harlem, and he said he grew up, a black firefighter lived in this apartment above, so he always had that seed planted about being a firefighter. And he's a good guy. Robert John Burke, if you don't know he is in his resume, he was the actual guy who was in RoboCop 3, who was RoboCop. He also is the
Oh,
internal
really?
investigator. Yeah, he's an internal investigator on Law and Order still. He's in Black Panther 2 and 3. He's in St. Anne's with Spike Lee. And he's done several, he's doing a film, just finished wrapping up a film with Robert De Niro. I mean, not Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. So he's an A-lister. But he, at 64 years old, he is still an active firefighter, and he has such a big impact. And he's one of the biggest actors who was a firefighter. There's a few actors who turn firefighters turned actors, and he's probably one of the biggest one that still keeps to his roots, that actually still can actually go out and help. Like if the 9/11 or something happened, he can actually go and help as a and he's still in shape at 64 years old.
Mhm.
And he has some wonderful stories, and he just knows, and he's opened his arms to me in New York, and he's set things up to where I can go to any fire station in New York, to have that access. And he knows a lot of the history of not just the black firefighters, but of the firefighters, period. So, like I said, we don't want to do a thing where we just have black firefighters just sharing their stories about just the struggles and the pains. We wanted
Yeah.
people to embrace that were there to talk about what these men and women did from a different perspective of just a black perspective point of view.
And what you just said, there are I love my people. I love seeing stories about us. However, so many times it's about the struggle that we've been through. And not that we need to diminish it, not that we don't need to know it and understand it, because we all live through that. But there are some good things that we've done. There are some wins we have had in life.
Right.
And if we don't celebrate our wins, how will we know when we are winning?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that sounds
Absolutely.
like what you're
Right on.
doing with not only Ronaldo, but with this firefighter story, and what I expect you to be doing with your other projects.
Oh yeah, we and like I said, we're gonna do a documentary on Hawthorne James, Big Red from Five Heartbeats.
Oh, Hawthorne.
And the story is just incredible. BB Drake, Her story is just incredible, and she's like the female Ronaldo Ray. She's one of the only actresses that has worked with Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Martin, Eddie Murphy, and of course John Witherspoon. And she was in House Party with John Witherspoon. You remember when she said uh, when they was in the window, when John Witherspoon was in the window, he's like, "What you doing?" And she said, "Go back to bed." In House Party when he was, "I'm gonna call the police," when he was in the window. That was his wife. She also was in Different World. She was Mr. Gaines' wife
Right.
at the pit.
Right.
And she's just amazing. And Coco Brown, her story is one of the greatest female comedians that's still doing it. And her parents recently have passed, and she's still enduring and still on top. And she's doing several projects with me. And her house burned down recently, and Tyler Perry came in and helped assisted for her to get back on her feet. So she has an incredible story to tell. And we're also doing the documentary on Johnny Guitar Watson, who is like the Ray Charles of music. In 1956, he started, and
Donnie
as you know,
was
he's
amazing.
got some mega hits.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna have some great people on that
Mm-hmm.
project as well, that I'm really looking forward to.
Guys, you've got some incredible people. So, with all of this that's happening, by the way, how old is your son now?
My son is 13. Oh, that son, he's 26.
He's
The one
26.
that yeah, 26. I
And
have a
what's
13-year-old, a 9-year-old girl, a 13-year-old son, and a 26-year-old.
all right, Daddy.
Yeah, and like I said, to have Sinbad on the documentary for Ronaldo Way is incredible because I've opened up Sinbad a couple of times, and of course, with the stroke and the heart attack and things like that, to actually, I know he's done Straw and I know he's done a few things, but I did his first interview since his stroke, and I was really excited. He had did no interview before then. And of course, it hasn't came out yet, but that is the first interview he's ever done since his stroke 5 years ago.
Sinbad was hilarious.
He's still hilarious. He just did a comedy
Good.
show in LA
Oh, I, oh,
last
I
week.
heard about. I
Yes.
heard about that.
Yep. Yep.
So has he?
Yep.
Because he doesn't look like. Has he completely um, healed
I don't
from
want to
his?
really get into it,
Okay.
because I don't want to speak for him, but I will say
Okay.
this. His mind is 100% sharp. He is
Awesome.
100% there. He
Awesome.
is 100% there. Yes.
Fabulous. That's what I wanted to ask. That's the answer that
Yes.
I wanted to know. Good, because that brother, I didn't know too many people who could make me gut belly laugh. Like,
He's probably the only person in our modern era that you and your parents can sit down and watch and
that's
laugh,
right. And
and
kids too.
grandparents.
And kids too.
Yes, yes,
And you're
yes. That's what I'm saying. When I was younger, my dad would not really laugh at any comedians, but he laughed with Sinbad. He loved Sinbad.
mhm. What is it now that keeps you going? Hollywood went through COVID. Hollywood
Hmm.
went through the strike, and so much changed. So many
I
things.
just love to tell stories. I
Mm,
just love to tell stories, and I love people to learn history about stories. Like I said, it's not just comedy; it's the firefighter documentary. I just want people to know the history, and we have some other films we're coming down the line that's going to really um, give you some a lot of depth. There's a movie we're going to do called Chicken Scratch, and it's a story about John Robinson who wrote a book called Chicken Scratch. And please get the book. It's a great book, and it
mm,
talks about his journey. He lived on a farm with his grandparent in times, and his mom was abused by his father-in-law, and he worked at a factory, and he was discriminated from the factory, and he got getting passed over, and eventually, he filed a EEOC lawsuit and won. It's like a pursuit of happiness story
mm.
of rag to riches.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yes.
I'm so glad to have you here. I want to share with everyone how
Hmm.
they can contact Marcus. So this is where you can find him. He's got two wonderful. Uh, I don't know what you call it. I'm on Instagram, but you can reach him two different places on Instagram. You can keep up with him as well on his website, mheadfilms.com. So check out Marcus to learn more about him. Yes, please.
And we will be casting soon, so follow me on both of those social medias. And we will be casting for multiple projects, and looking forward to. And like I said, we're about inspiring and letting people tell their stories. And if anyone has a story they want to tell, reach out to me. I love to write scripts, create a pitch deck, give you a blueprint of how to get your story in front of the right people to where you can get it produced. I can help you with the financing and just if you have a story and you want it told, I'm the person. I can get you the A-list people to act in your film. I can get you great music. So, like I said, I'm a full-time, full-service filmmaker.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Marcus. I know a sister who can act too.
Okay.
If you're looking for
I
some,
love the hairstyle.
before you go, I ask all of my audience, I'm sorry, all of my guests this, because you've shared so much. It's so beautiful. Is there anything from your heart that you'd like to share with us to inspire those of us who are looking to make our visions possible?
I would say don't ever give up. I know it's a cliche, but believe in what you do. Like I said, get people to believe in you and be creative. Don't wait on, like I tell people, if you've never acted before, practice your favorite movie. So what's love got to do with it? You know, either anybody in the scene, do that. We got the phone. You can just go ahead and make a reel with your phone and just act that part out. Now that's showing your range of you put on the, if you Ike Turner, you put the wig on, you do this, do that, and you act out the scene. Now you have a reel to show your acting talents. If you music, get your little horn, get your little guitar, play some music, record it, put it out, get it viral. That's how you get discovered. So, like I said, don't wait on anyone to give anything to you. Go take it, go give it, go get it, and then have people respond to you. And of course, believe in God, pray and have that vision. But I say the biggest thing is don't stop, have the positive energy, and just when you finally get there, just make sure you give back and you inspire and help other people.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Marcus.
Thank you for having me.
You're just so wonderful. Angela Gibbs, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, you guys introduced me
I
to.
love Angela. I love that family.
Love her too. You take care of yours. Thank you for being here tonight, and I look forward to our further communication. Ciao, my brother. Did you hear that? Did you hear what he said? Don't wait for anyone to validate who you are. Don't wait for anyone to tell you that you are talented, you are worthy, that you can be who you want to be. The only person who can tell you that is you. And when you tell yourself that, oh baby, the sky is the limit. Look at that. COVID happens. He and his wife are watching television. He doesn't see anything on television they really enjoy watching. Pardon. And she says to him, you write it. You always wanted to write something. What has come from that effort? You will not make your vision possible. You will not get further. Your next dream will not come true. You don't do anything about it. Now, I believe in prayer. I'm a Buddhist, as I say many times, and I chant. And I believe there are energies in the world that have helped me through this life. And that make it seems like natural things happen But ain't nothing gonna happen if I don't pick up the phone. Ain't nothing gonna happen if I don't pick up a pen, put pen to paper, right, and start typing on my computer. Ain't nothing gonna happen if you don't keep perfecting those cupcakes you like making. If you don't walk into your boss and tell them what you're looking to do at your job, if you want a raise, nothing's going to happen if you don't walk up to that person who's attractive to you and say hello. Ain't nothing gonna happen, baby. Now, that's not to say that someone's not going to walk up to you. Yes, Francis, vibration is high. It's not to say that that won't happen. But everything in your life that happens starts with the decisions that you make, the clarity that you have. A friend of mine and I have this saying, faith in action, not just sitting around hoping and praying or chanting even, not just waiting for the sign to come up of what you should do, but being active for you. The other thing I loved of what he talked about was being a mentor. See, Marcus ain't just out there creating his own projects. He told us, if you want to get something done, reach out to me. I will help you. I have everything you need to help you move forward with what you want to do. That is so important because when you give, you do get. The world opens up to you. You've got to have an open hand. And I'm not saying he's doing that for that reason, not at all. But guaranteed, when you give, it is amazing what you get in return. When I volunteer, I think I'm giving to others. But whenever I leave, I feel like they gave to me. I feel like I'm replenished. Being here with you on Wednesdays, I feel replenished. So, my darlings, persistence, love you first and foremost, support you first and foremost. What was that other thing he said? Oh, I hope I wrote that down. Create your own space. You want respect? Not only give it, but take it. Be who you want to be. Don't look around for people to acknowledge you. Be you. Walk in with respect for yourself and watch what happens. So I'm really glad that all of you were here with me today. I want you to have a brilliant week. I will see you next week. Let me give you my information so you know where to find me. This is where you can find Iona Morris Jackson. Please reach out. Please tell your friends about the podcast. Have them join me. That would be awesome. Here is the show info and where you can find the Vision is Possible. I would love to have for me join us. This is the end of our night, end of our time together. I want you to go out there and have a fantastic week. Ciao.